to be stopped! What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Jay Diesel coming at you with the next installment of Under the Radar. And with me, as always, is my partner in crime, Grandmaster Flowkey himself. How are you doing today, my man?
We're doing some crazy ass shit today.
Oh, I'm excited to get into it. There's a lot to unpack.
Can we talk about this? Is our first time ever doing match analysis on the podcast?
I know this is live, right? Like we're going into this blinds.
Yeah. So, I want to give really before we start, I want to give a big shout out to Jay and our guest for collaborating for Wrath of the Mix. You guys don't know, for some reason, Wrath of the Mix is September 7th over on twitch.tv/FolkyFGC, coinciding with the PRZ monthly happening in Maryland.
Yes, the
September
PRZ Xanadu Monthly Bread and Butter number 16 is going to be going down, and it is going to be an incredible event. A lot of top talent coming out, and a lot of top talent gathering from around New England to clash for a chance to claim the title of the strongest man in New England. And we're going to see these men battle it out at Wrath of the Mix. Grandmaster Flowkey, an absolutely amazing passion project, and I am looking forward to watching every single minute of it.
Listen, I appreciate you for the PRZ, but it's not about us.
It really isn't about us. It's about
we need to hype up this man. If you guys are from Massachusetts, you guys probably have seen this face all over the Red Bull Conquest for Street Fighter. He's been doing some Tekken, and he's one of the mainstays for Dragon Ball FighterZ. You can follow him at It's Brad M on Twitter.
You can see his Twitter on stream right now. It is right below his face cam. But you know what? I think we can prop this man up all we want, but I don't think there's anyone better than to introduce himself here. So, Brad, why don't you take it away, my man?
How are you guys gonna hype me up like that? I got all this hair around me now. What am I supposed to do?
He's like, I got all this gas for no reason.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you guys for having me. It is a spectacular honor to be invited to be a part of this and to be participating in Wrath of the Mix in the first place. For you guys to reach out and make me or allow me to be a part of this is fantastic, and I'm pumped for it, and I'm really excited to watch the matches then, and I'm really excited for us to watch the matches now, and it's going to be really interesting to see how we can make this match analysis stuff work live on the fly.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. Now, Flowkey, you're the head of Wrath of the Mix, so I think you got to be the one to tell the people at home, what exactly are we breaking down on this episode?
So here's what's going down. So as you guys have probably heard from me over on Twitter, these lovely gentlemen are breaking down two of the matches that you guys are going to be seeing, respectively. Jay Diesel will be covering Young Fish versus Kite, and then Brad is covering Pete the Monster going up against Ice. Today we're going to be covering Asian Tom versus Dayman and Dan Cravat against Carmine. All 8 players are very strong in their own respective right. And I tasked these two to kind of just put their own spin on what they would want the people to see.
Actually, do you mind if we talk a tiny bit about that before we jump into the match analysis?
I was gonna segue. I was actually gonna segue.
So, I'm sorry if I was a little too excited about it.
Yeah, it's all good, brother. It's all good.
But I just want to say that if you have not been following the Young Fish Kite storyline, Summit is your chance to tune in. These men have clashed 5 times, back to back to back to back to back. And this current match score is 3-2. With Young Fish claiming the last win over Kite. Now, Summit Wrath of the Mix is upon us. And there's an exhibition match between these two. I don't even know if I can call it. I think it might be a grudge match. It's a match. This is Goku and Vegeta storyline playing out live. And if you are not watching it Summit Wrath of the Mix, you're doing yourself an injustice for these two up-and-coming phenoms of the New England DBFZ circuit. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Brad, talk to us a little bit about your exhibition match that you are tackling with Pete the Monster and Ice.
Yeah, so I think Pete and Ice, funnily enough, there's not a whole lot more recent footage to these guys. I think these guys come out a little bit less, but when they do, they make some waves. Pete is a player that you'll find around Massachusetts. You'll definitely know him for his Blue Goku, and if you go back far enough, you'll know him for his Frieza. really interesting shell in the way that he plays. Ice also playing some interesting character selections. I had been operating under the assumption he was playing Cell Kid Buu Yamcha. You're going here and telling me he's bringing the adult Gohan back out of retirement lately.
Yeah, dude.
He's bringing out Super OG / New G Kazunoko.
It's weird, right? Like, there's a lot of and one thing that we touched on off air is like the character pool has been deep, and even after Young Fish is a really good example of that. Young Fish is playing Janemba.
Like, well, I mean, it's for so many of these players. Crazy. I mean, Pete's filled out that questionnaire that you had given all the players, which they can find if they go to your socials and look at the blog post. But Pete's character list is like 6 characters deep. He can play 2 discrete teams.
It's so
and
crazy.
So many permutations, so many different ways that he can tackle different problems in the matchup. If the Frieza isn't working for him, if he's getting mauled a little bit too much, he can lean back and pull on some more safer meta picks to try to pick some stuff out. And so that's one of the things that's going to be interesting. And my video talks a little bit about that. That's going to be going live, I think, tomorrow morning or afternoon.
Ooh, so be on the lookout for that.
That's my hope.
Yeah. So, and as well as we can't talk about Wrath of the Mix without the rest of the players. Again, Hypnotic's gonna be there, one of the best in Massachusetts. Pumper Jam, as we mentioned. We have Taz the Tyrant. All the qualifiers are there. Taz the Tyrant, Mozo. You have JMD Rose there. You might get to see Nick O. Mike Smith himself might be there. Gok.
The most volcanic of Akumas.
As well as Traveling Controller's own Lucky D. He's gonna also be in the mix. Based on that roster, real quick, who do you think's gonna win? I'll ask both of you.
Are you talking?
I'm right before we get into this. I want to get your picks.
If Connecticut takes it, it's Kite, and I don't imagine we'll get much disagreement on that. And you and I talked a little bit about this before we went live. I think if someone from Mass is going to take it, I think it's a bit of a toss-up. My money would be between probably Pump. Pump is probably my safe Massachusetts choice.
Right.
Pump's had consistent results from what I was able to look at.
But I think Hypnotic could certainly take it. If Mike Smith is really on his day, Mike Smith is a very read-heavy player, and if he's in the pocket on that day, he could take literally anybody in this bracket. So, you know, there's wild cards.
Now, one thing that I actually, when I was looking through, because I actually sat down, I looked at every single match result since last January for both Mass and CT. And I looked at everybody because I was really curious what this
He did extra credit.
What?
I didn't even know
Look,
this.
I don't like
teacher's pet.
What? Look, I just like to know what I'm talking about because I'm naturally pretty dumb. So I really got to do my homework. All right, like
I've done it. I can't criticize.
Right, like I got to be real. And looking through it, it really stuck out to me how, and obviously this is just my bias, right, because of the exhibition that I'm currently doing. But I have noticed a trend where I think Kite for me would be the player who I actually think has the best chance on paper to win this. He's become incredibly, incredibly hot lately. I actually have his statistics over here, which I'm actually going to pull up real quick. So, little bit of a spoiler. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see.
Hold up. I'm not going to pull this up on my...
he has pretty insane finishes. He's finished first at the last 6 Obelisks events. On top of that, he's never done worse than third. And that's going back, again, all the way to January.
Yeah.
On top of that,
half of those lots.
at the balance patch events, he has won the last 3 weeks. The 16th, the 9th, and the 2nd.
Ooh, so I have to correct.
He is going in.
I think the last time that he was there, he lost to Pumper Jam's
Fat did he lose? Well, okay, that was the 16th.
He did
there's one
event
I didn't have because I did this research last week. So okay,
yep,
so there's one event then. Oh man,
you missed one and Pump took it over him.
Oh my. Yeah. Kite, you could have just won and made me look extra good. Come on now. It's all for naught now, right? Your statistics are worthless. I didn't count last time.
It's like everything is useless. I think one thing about Kite, he's kind of been the one. So ever since that I've kind of taken it back to work on Wrath, he's kind of held down CT for me for a
it's
long
not
time.
even just that. The other thing that kind of I thought was really interesting about Kite was Kite competes at multiple weeklies every single week.
Even online tournaments.
Yeah, he competes. I've casted him multiple times online. He's competing in 2 different weeklies every single week and consistently finishing top 3 for both of them. Yeah. The amount of Dragon Ball this man consumes. This man lives and breathes this game. And I think going into this, he's really, really hot. Now, Youngfish did just win a monthly on the back of his Janemba, which I think was really, really good. And I'm excited to see him to bring that team, especially because I think Janemba, I know it's early, is really shaping up in a very powerful way as a character. Especially the teleport mix is really starting to prove its worth. Just the ability to condition your opponent. You're like, oh, I'm going to keep stealing the corner for Oki. And then they start, Kite, you can't say you don't play this game. I will not have my chat become a den of lies. Come on.
I'm not sure you play any other game. I'm pretty sure, like, you, in Uteros, like, were doing super dash option select.
This is what he does. He super dash option selects.
I'm a competitive Persona.
Goes to Wendy's, gets a 4-for-4 with spicy nuggets, and plays more Dragon Ball. And downplays 21. Cap.
Yeah, actually, Youngfish, I agree. Janemba really does seem to really kind of counter this beam meta that we've been coming into, because he does. He has a tool that is very, very strong. Also, as a Ginyu player, he makes me sad. So I mean, lot of great options.
As though, additionally for Janemba, it feels as though his assist, the sort of day -1 take was the assist was garbage, and then people are immediately like, okay, treat it like Gotenks assist.
Yes.
But what it looks like is, I don't know if it's something to do with the scaling or just the way the hit stun applies or something like that, but it is enabling very damaging combo routes for a lot of characters that can make really interesting utilizations of it. Kid Buu Janemba is a disgustingly powerful shell in the corner, and you get crazy damage off.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. True. Also, the amount of meter that assist saves you is absurd, because I don't think people realize if you use Janemba assist for combo extension 3 times in a match, you have saved 3 meter. You did not have to commit into a Vanish DR for sliding knockdown, because you can go same side. And that's a really big deal. And a lot of the Janemba players I've seen, I've literally counted the meter. On average, they're saving somewhere between 2 and 5 meter. Just off conversions.
That's a lot of bar.
That's a lot.
That is a touch of death. That is like the difference between being able to afford to kill a character.
Right. Let's say you low end, right? You get 2. You save 2 meter because you had an assist that was able to allow you to move them in that way. And also, I still don't think it's good in neutral. I think in neutral it's bad. In block strings, it's okay. It's okay. It's kind of like Vegeta assist. If your opponent just doesn't remotely respect it at all, you're going to get blown up. Right. But you can also bait that. So it starts creating mind games.
From my perspective, it's purely a combo assist.
Yeah.
But I think it's a fundamentally different combo assist to some of the other ones that we've seen.
I very much agree on that. I think it's also a lot easier to utilize, because a lot of the Gotenks routes are hyper specific. You don't really get that with Janemba. Janemba was like, yeah, just do your B and just, I don't know, hit him into the Janemba assist and DR them.
Yeah, I was watching Alucard play at the most recent House of Chaos, and it's like some of the routes that he gets, some of the rejump routes that he gets with Frieza Janemba is just like, oh, okay, I guess you just get to, build an extra, 60-70% bar.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm kind of going back to the original question. I think Kite, is definitely one of the players to watch. I think for Dark Horses, I think we need to think about and talk about these opted-in players just a smidge. Now, there's a reason why I opted in 4 players.
I was gonna say, talk to us, Flo, because what was your vision for this? Talk to me about it.
So the vision I had was to kind of be like a celebration between CT and Mass and where we've been for an entire year. There's kind of 2 big elephants in the room, right? 1, why is there 4 opted-in players? And 2, why is my name not in there?
I mean,
for the reason number 2 gets answered by number 1 is because 1, I wanted to make sure all these other players kind of get their shine, because I've been traveling around and I've been kind of like not putting New England on my back, but like for the play, listen, hold on. For the people,
you got some dirt on your shoulder there, guy.
when Hypnotic wasn't traveling around, like, but like his first major was ECT, right? And like there's a lot of players that weren't like making the rounds at first. You know, a lot of people didn't, because I really didn't know about Mass until a couple months ago. Until first Retro Rumble, right? And I was like, oh, Mass is really good at this game, right? Word. And then, but for my mind, like no one really knew about CT Dragon Ball for a very long time. For a very, very long time. Until, because like you had players like Light playing the game, right? And
Yeah.
it was like, oh, cool. Like we had, I'm not saying anything bad about him, right? But we there's not like only people saw like Light and then me, and then you're just like, well, now what? This kind of led to the first summit that I ran back right after NEC last year, just like a little celebration for them. And then I remembered I put out a tweet and I was like, you know what? What if I ran a summit with CT and Mass? Or another CT summit, and Mass was like, "Where the fuck are we?" And I was like, "Word, it's like that."
Okay.
And then it kind of turned into, and I remember because me and Brad were talking about it, and then it kind of turned into, well, if I do this, I want to make sure it's run and provide and is brought to you by the best people that I know personally, and give you guys the best content. And these are all people that have like helped me grow in the last year of Dragon Ball. So like working with people like Jay Diesel, Cy Evermore, Lucky D, Justin Mills for Great Value Smash, Brad. You know, you have all these people that like have really helped me find my growth in the scene. So
Yeah.
it was a nice little give back for everybody there. It's also a good back to all the CT players that held me down, and also the Mass players that showed me love when we met at Retro Rumble. So it's kind of like a nice little like culmination of all that. So like it's my love letter to everybody, just as a big thank you. Like for me, I don't need to compete because the fruits of my labor are right there.
Wow, that was very poetically put, and like
So,
I respect that.
Like I'd rather be a mentor for CT players in like New England than trying to make as much money. Like listen, I'm gonna be real. When I went to HOC that one time I got fourth, did it matter? Yeah, but in actuality, I'd rather be there to like lay the foundation for CT and Mass.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, and you had
long-term.
Youngfish get 33rd at CEO like not too long ago.
There's a lot of players that have been doing really well, and
yeah,
I think we're gonna definitely talk about. There's a lot of players that actually looked up to me, like Damien, and like all these players like from CT, literally look up to me,
right,
in some way. It's weird. I'm not used to it. I'm not used to it at all.
Oh my goodness, Floki's an idol.
So like when I met Dayman, we'll get into his matches. Like
Yeah.
Dayman,
I was gonna say, I think we have Dayman queued up first, right?
Yeah, Dayman.
Segway powers.
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
goodness, Brad
Yo, we
actually
got-
the
yo.
professional Red Bull commentator out here,
The
planning his
actual
blocks. Let's
so
go.
one thing about Dayman is that he was originally a fun fact about him. He played Super Saiyan Goku on point at one point.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he was playing Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan Vegeta, Goku, and then he switched to Vegeta, and now I think he switched over to his new team, and then he's gonna be playing against Javi G, who is opted in. This was backstory really quick. This was a qualifying match that happened at my grad party. This came about because I hit up Random Fiend about the match. Random Fiend was like, "It's not fair that Dayman gets in for free." Now I'm like, "Word." So Dayman and Javi G should run a set. He said Dayman and Javi G should run a set. I'm like, cool. Obviously, if y'all were there live to see that match, y'all saw what happened. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it was some good match. Javi has switched. He's another player who switched around a lot. Finally sticking to the Piccolo gang, which is awesome. Carmine, he's been switching around a lot too. You're gonna kind of see that to be the theme of New England, right? A lot of players have been switching around teams and things like that to kind of find their own. And I think this being this was actually one of the first matches because another fun fact, this was actually the very first qualifier before we even had our actual qualifier. This was like a prelim qualifier. So like Dayman put up a spot that I invited him for against Javi.
That's
just so
I like it. I like the angle
confidence,
there.
the
Yeah,
flex.
exactly. Right. That's like I
his
don't even need this spot. You think you can take this
player
spot?
profile.
Take it from me.
So his player profile, which are all up on the blog.
Yeah.
The CT exhibition will be coming out this Friday. So you guys get a little taste of it tonight. Mass is already out. So if you guys want to see the Mass side, it's out. There is a quote, and I want to pull it up because this is and we'll get right into it. This man, where is it? I asked everybody, what does Summit mean to you, and why? He says it means smoke, and that's all I want.
What?
That's godlike. What?
He was
Is he gonna win and drop his mixtape? What is this?
He's actually
This
him
is
and Taz
just
used to be
smoke.
1 and 2 before I took over. So he kind of looks to me as like one of the stronger players. But yeah, if you guys want to follow along, I will be posting this in chat. We are going to be starting at 2:54. We probably won't go through the entire set because we have a couple of matches to get through tonight.
Yes.
So please follow along. Again, starts at 2:54.
Yep. As you can see, I am currently dragging my Twitch onto the main screen. We're gonna blow this up so you guys can all watch along here, but
Ignore the commentary because me and Kaze were like half asleep.
yeah, I was kind of wondering with you guys
'cause
there.
I didn't have a face cam. I didn't have an extra.
We've all
camera.
been there.
Exactly.
Yeah, so. Are you guys ready?
All right, guys. Here we go.
All right, 3,
2,
2,
1.
1,
go.
go.
All right, so let's check this out. Oh man, you can see Floki in his element here.
I was like.
All right, so let's actually stop right here, and let's.
Jesus already?
The first thing you gotta do. Let's talk about the teams.
Yeah, it's very true. Very, very true. So, kind of looking at it, right? With Bardock, Piccolo, Goku.
Yeah.
I have stated this a lot. I think it's Piccolo's best team. 100%.
Really,
kinda
Bardock, Piccolo,
next-
Goku.
I kind of next to Bardock, Piccolo, Bardock, maybe a Tien or like a Apology Man's team.
Well, real quick, just because I don't think we've called it out yet. Real quick, let's make sure that the people know.
That's very
which
true.
team is
Establish who's
Yes.
who.
So Javi is on the left. He's playing Piccolo, Bardock, Goku. On the right is Dayman. He is playing Blueku, GT Goku, Super Saiyan Goku.
All right, so it's established. Everyone knows who's playing who. All right, 3, 2, 1. Let's start.
It's a little shocking. We get 2 blue Gokus in the summit too. The other in the form
Yeah,
of P.
that's like a really uncommon character right now, so it's really, really surprising. Nice use of the assist into 6M to get the open up there. Ooh.
Nice corner position here. I like doing the IAD cross up with the jump S, just varying the way that you apply the block stun. I feel a lot of the mix up in this happens in sort of the way people play around normalcy.
I agree. Like the aspects of like conditioning, because if you do the same mix multiple times, if even just varying up your timing slightly can have that mix connect where it normally fails. Oh, Bardock sliding on in.
Yeah, nice chase on the up tech too.
Yeah, that was really, really nice. Goes in, meter dumps. So, actually, we can stop right here. Our first character just went down.
Yeah.
So,
F4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.
So I actually want to go ahead and kick this over to Floki. Why don't you walk us through a little bit of this Piccolo play as a very phenomenal Piccolo player yourself?
So one thing to kind of note about Javi's style is that he can be a very heavy defensive player until he switched to Piccolo. One thing to note about Javi is that he very much so likes to pick his spot. He's more of, I feel like as Bardock's kind of the main squeeze of his team, where like I feel he's been playing the character longer. Piccolo is just there to run mix and just to like establish the neutral, because that's one thing. He has a Guilty Gear and Street Fighter background as well. In Street Fighter he plays Akuma, and in Guilty Gear he plays Slayer. So he has a very aggro in your face style, but also knows when to calm it back, because he plays Akuma, so he knows how to like throw fireballs and like check your opponent and like just do the small things.
Right.
I think that's one thing that he definitely knows how to encapsulate on. You could definitely see where we at right now. you kind of just can see how he is definitely like trying to find his way back into everything and just establish himself. Because it is a first to 7. Like the thing was with this set in particular, it was kind of hard for us to be like, oh, do we do a first to 5 or do we do a first to 7? The first to 7 was kind of like the middlemen to like make sure everything gets kind of settled.
Right.
I feel like Hobby's one weakness, in my opinion, is the long game.
So in terms of adaptation of those longer sets,
like I feel like if you look at it, I feel like him shorter sets is like short set Hobby is scary. Every time like he gets a touchdown with Piccolo, it's scary because he has Fuzzy, he has all these other options. But it's a matter of who he's exactly playing. Like the set with Dayman could be different how he played Mike Smith back at the monthly, or like him versus when he played Andre. You know, there was different elements in those sets. So I think depending on which Hobby shows up, that's gonna affect how these games are gonna be playing out.
A lot of good stuff there, Floki. And actually, I think we should let's get it rolling once again. He's up, right? He's got the lead at this point. What's he gonna do with it?
Yeah, it's really interesting to see Dayman playing Bluku in this game. Like him going from base Cheetah to Bluku is definitely one I was kind of surprised about.
Now I got a question: is his base Cheetah as good as
Asian Toms?
No, not Asian Toms. Floki, me and him have history. Why can't I remember his name?
Giannis?
Yes.
Giannis? I think Giannis actually switched. He might be switching teams. I think he may have gone to GT, but I think he's still playing base Cheetah. I think both players had a different style, and like you can kind of see.
Interesting.
I love the neutral. Like,
yeah, they're playing so reserved.
Yeah. This
oh
is
my god,
a lot of restraint.
Like trying to commentate this match, I was like, I can't even call. Like, it's so hard to even think about this match. Like while it was going on, it's like just the way they you can kind of see. It's like the immovable Ozjack versus the irresistible Force, because like Dayman is just trying to push nice staggers. That should be working on a dead character. Now, mind you, not a lot of people had sauce at this point, so the extended combos with SSJ were kind of not as prevalent.
Yeah, actually, I really liked that whole sequence there. Actually, from Dayman,
yeah.
Because like the staggers were incredibly good. I also like the sparking here. I think you definitely want to try and get out. And Javi I like the recognition he has. He's been very good about picking up on like situations like that where he wasn't jailed to the ground and being like, that's not real. Like, this is my chance to press buttons. Because a lot of players miss stuff like that.
Yeah, that's like the one thing that both these players have, like, because they haven't prior to this, they haven't really played. So
interesting. So is this their first encounter?
Not their. I don't believe it's their first encounter, because they've played a lot since like the CT Summit, and then like maybe a couple times like during like a tournament or something like that, when we had casuals. But nice.
Oh, that's an unfortunate drop.
Yeah. The one thing that you can kind of see is the different styles of like SSJ kind of between these two. Like where like one's gonna be playing very stagger heavy, and the other one's just like, I'm just gonna wait for you to make a mistake and then go in.
Yeah. And I think both of those are valid ways to play SSJ. Like you can be kind of aggressive with him, but I think that kind of more methodical style, just given the tools the character has, I think by and large tends to be more effective. Just because like Goku's very good at slowing the game down. Also, EX shoulder charge from Bluku
is so good.
I know.
So I was gonna actually pose this question to the group. What do you guys feel about Blue Goku's ability as a comeback character? Because obviously Dayman here is playing Bluku, SSJ, GT. We see GT, SSJ a bunch. That shell gives GT the ability to play second. You still get him as a point character. You get all the benefits of him as an assist for your point, but then you don't have to deal with the weakness of him losing so hard to zoning. But to end up here with the Bluku last, what do you think about that in terms of teamwork?
I think it's could be a detriment at times. It could be a Piccolo case, right, where it's like his neutral might not be the best. So it's kind of like he kind of has to be forced to play point. Like him, like playing solo, like even like Javi taking that first game, right? Like you saw like him kind of crumble under like the idea of like, oh man, I have Bluku last. What can I really do with him other than like mix you like from like mid screen maybe? Nice command grab.
Yeah, that command grab was
and
really, really tight.
He's Bluku's a very interesting character. I feel like we're turning into this game where it's like you have a handful of point characters, and if they are left behind,
incoming character mix, and he's targeting this GT here is Javi.
I think this was at the time that he still hates playing against GT, which is very fair. A lot of people do. Nice to age.
Yeah.
Oof.
Great bait.
Yeah, that's the one thing Dayman's like really, really strong at. Just baiting your opponent, like playing the very oppressive style. Because even with base Jita, he used to do the same thing. Like he very much just wanted to be in your face, making you think you're making every single mistake. When he's doing the most minimalistic thing, like he'd super dash twice there, and just do orb. Waited for Javi to make a mistake, then did another orb.
Yeah, even after he did orb and called Bluku assist, that didn't even jail. Like that Bluku assist just did not hit, but his opponent was scared, right? And if Javi doesn't react to that, like he's just gonna. It's true if you believe it's true, right?
Right.
Like I know that's.
I will say you call out not jailing an orb, and we just watched Javi make the adjustment and dashing under some of a setup into forcing a block on orb that isn't real.
Yeah, into the Hellzone mix. Oh, the command grab, it's so good. The 3S in the combo. It's just it. Man, I like this character.
I know, Floki. That's why I asked you about him earlier, because who better to talk about Piccolo?
See, the thing is too, it's like Youngfish is also in the chat, and like Youngfish is also seen and Hypnotic. You were kind of all watching him at the monthly, just watching him intently as he played these matches with Piccolo. We're like, what can he do that we can't? I feel like that's where the character's at now. Nice pickup by Dayman. Nice switch in the GT. I feel like he's one of the few people that he's kept like the same character on his team the entire time. Like with SSJ, he's been one thing that we kind of tagged him as is the SSJ OG. He's been playing this character since RIP.
Oh, really? Since launch?
Yep. So he has been playing the character for a very long time. So you're kind of seeing him kind of get into his own kind of ways, and like he's just kind of made all of his teams around that, like just playing very neutral heavy and making the opponent feel like they're making every single mistake in the world. Oh my god, that was I got hit. I got hit.
So that setup is ridiculous. The ability to go into that elbow with the GT assist and it'll catch you and jail you in the air. That's so good, and it's like doubling down on the strength of the GT Goku assist. There's obviously this emerging conversation in the meta about prevalence and the strength of GT Goku, and outside of Spirit Bomb Oki and the fact that he can combo off of it, which is stupid and don't at me, you can see that his ability to jail you and force you to pull down from jump height on that assist is what makes him really effective. To embed a left-right into that with Blue Goku is a really powerful tool to have available.
It definitely is. I mean, I think even on top of that, like a lot of the discussion obviously centers around Spirit Bomb because it's the most visually recognizable part of why he's good. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that his assist and his just general Kamehameha hits what is normally dead space on screen. And there's no other character who really does that. And as you just kind of mentioned, the amount of setups that you can get off of GT Goku's assist is just insane. Like, it enables mid-screen fuzzies. It enabled what we just saw with, Bluku, Goku Azul, and and it's just things like that that really kind of separate him. I don't know. As Sonic Fox puts it, he is the Virgil of DBZ, right?
Makes sense. Yeah. Oh, I think both these players have been very prevalent in the way they've been playing the game now. I feel like, especially with Javi, I think Javi felt like he had a lot of
phenomenal defense from Javi.
How did he block that?
That was incredible defense from Javi. The awareness to block that.
Can we pause that? And
you know what? Hold on. I'm going to rewind, actually. So I'm going to go back.
What was that again?
Watching. So it's going to be at 11:40.
11:40. Yeah, because sometimes this thing is kind of using Twitch VODs is very detrimental.
And I'm going to pause at 11:50. So that block right there, and then he turns the situation around. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, both of these players are, that's the one thing I can definitely accredit Javi to.
Yeah.
Is his defense. And you're going to kind of, he was playing Bardock Celtien, right? And one thing I commended him for was his defense, especially with Bardock.
Right.
and you're kind of seeing that turn over to Piccolo, where he kind of looks at the game kind of differently, and like he just wants to run mix, have Piccolo be the star, when in actuality Bardock is kind of the glue that keeps everything together, because that Rebellion Spear Assist on top of his explosive damage. Now you're seeing with Dayman, he kind of, one thing about Dayman, I don't know if you guys have caught on to this so far, is that he gets very overzealous. He kind of tries to press the issue sometimes too much. And that could be a downfall against Asian Tom.
I mean,
because Asian Tom is playing Ginyu.
And Ginyu.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Go ahead, talk about it, Brad. Let's hit it.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm gonna expose myself a lot a bit. I was at the monthly on Saturday. I sat down and played casual with this man. He beat me 20 games straight.
Right.
It was just the way if you let him get his stuff started, you need to press in the gaps. You need to take the opportunities in the gaps to escape from the pressure and the lockdown. But if you don't know where the gaps are, A, or B, if you overcommit in the gaps when he's maybe not trying to press the advantage, when he's playing a little bit more defensively, he'll blow you up for it. His, the Raccoon Beam, man, that thing has so much hit stun.
Oh, I can't wait to go over Asian Tom's match, because I know Jay Diesel has a lot to say about Ginyu.
I have a lot of thoughts on Ginyu as one of the rare breed of Ginyu mains who still exist at this point in the game's life cycle.
So what we can do, we could talk about a little bit more about Dayman, and then let's kick it to his opponent, hit up Asian Tom for a bit, and then we can keep going, right?
Yep. So, all right. So let's roll the footage again. We're going to go to the end of this game, and then we're going to transition over to Asian Tom.
Yeah. Also, guys, you have any questions in chat in regards to Summit Wrath of the Mix, please don't hesitate to ask. Me, Brad, and Jay are all here to answer any of your questions. Also, Brad is going to be one of the commentators you guys are going to be seeing at Wrath, holding it down. I announced that officially a couple weeks ago, and then we put out the profile on him on Friday along with Bean, which is super exciting. So, actually, while we're in kind of like this match is kind of rolling in the back, how do you have you commentated before with Bean at all, or this will be your first time?
It will be the first time, yeah. I think the only other time I've gone down to Connecticut was Retro Rumble last year, and it was me and Ajax the whole time.
Right. So that was kind of the thing. I was like, both the styles that I think both of you kind of like, both play kind of play by play. Both can kind of have that color kind of style. He was there when the illustrious sex isn't cool and all, but have you vanished into a level 3? That moment was when I said commentary, me and him lost our minds for a good solid like 20.
Also, to get back into the game, that anti-air 5L.
Yeah,
GT Goku is cursed.
Yeah, GT Goku is one of those characters that like you kind of have to give respect to in a lot of different ways, and it kind of comes back to how Dayman is playing as a player. He just wants to constantly be in your face, like right there, just setting up that mix. Like he went for a cross-up setup, and he wasn't even near Piccolo. That's how much he wants to kill this character.
Like and he still, I mean, he made it work because there was just no challenge there from Javi. But it's one of those things. Like GT Goku is a very interesting character in terms of the way you have to fight him. Like if you watch how like Sonic Fox and Goichi fight this character, they literally, their strategy is to basically go full screen and chuck single ki blast at him.
Right.
That's how they fight this character, because they don't want to be anywhere near him because he wins the scramble too hard. Oh, nice raw tag right there to bait out the reflect.
I love raw tag. I love everybody's like different style for Goku, especially like you can kind of see like a lot of the stuff that like I do with Goku. Originally the IED H and the Ki Blast. I didn't know about that until Dayman showed that to me. There was a lot of things. Again, he's the OG for the reason, right? Like he's kind of like in Connecticut especially. He was one of the few players that were kind of playing this character, very prevalently.
Nice sparking confirmed there.
Yeah. All right, so we wrapped up this match. So I actually think this is a good spot to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't each? We'll start with Brad. Why don't you take a couple, let's say about 30 seconds or so. How would you sum up Javi's play style based on the footage that we've watched so far?
Do you mean Javi or do you mean Dayman?
Or
Dayman.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that.
So he plays with a fair bit of intensity. He's got a good shell behind him in order to do that with the two beams, obviously a really powerful combination with what we're looking at right now. As you guys had alluded to, maybe occasionally a little overzealous, but I will call out one thing that I didn't get to in that last game near the end there.
Okay.
And it was when he still had the GT and the SSJ on point. We talked about him playing with that intensity and keeping the pedal to the metal, but there was a sequence there of maybe 15 or 20 seconds where he had the life lead, and he was willing to sit on it. And he was just playing, GT's ability to send those cross-angle beams with the SSJ assist behind him, and he slowed it down because he didn't need to overcommit. And I think he is able to have the presence of mind in a set to recognize that he's got a powerful neutral shell with a strong mix engine behind it, and he doesn't need to overcommit. He's going to be in a good spot to take a match over Asian.
Yeah. I kind of agree with that. He's a very in-your-face player. He will make you try to crack in every which way possible. He's playing kind of to his strengths now. Kind of having the double beam. That's been kind of his bread and butter since the game's come out. Again, like with Vegeta, he played SSJ Vegeta with 2 beams. Now Bluku with 2 beams.
Right.
Like you're seeing like him finding his own style and like his kind of neutral. Again, I can't reiterate this. This man wants smoke, and he's looking for Asian Tom smoke. I can see why. I am terrified. I am terrified for Tom because Tom, again,
Tom's nervous.
Tom is nervous in chat right now.
Because I feel like the thing is with Tom is that, again, he plays Ginyu. And, like, from my knowledge about Ginyu, from playing you, is once Ginyu gets hit, it's hard for him to come back.
If you make Ginyu block, you beat the character. That is ultimately how Ginyu functions, given he has no defensive option. But before we segue over to Ginyu, just to kind of close up here with the amazing Dayman, his offense is incredibly good. The one thing I will say, he does tend to go for stagger pressure a lot, and that's both a good and a bad thing. It's good in terms of when it's not being challenged, he always has his assist recharging in the back.
That's true.
Like almost that entire match, you could see his assists were recharging because of his great stagger pressure. But if somebody's willing to call those out and challenge those, I could really see that being a big issue. Now, part of it is Have didn't manage to do it to a point where it wasn't worth it for Dayman, right?
Right.
So as a result, he kept doing it. Now, if somebody's more aggressive, if Tom, decides, maybe to really challenge more aggressively, that's something that could maybe come back to get him. But overall, a very, very strong player. Great mix with Bluku, and he controlled neutral very, very well. Just the combination of those beams just creates an almost... There's nowhere safe, right?
Yeah.
There's nowhere safe on screen.
This is not safe. There's no safe place for the characters. And I know Pete also plays that team a little bit, or plays Bluku plus B or GT a little bit. So, like, Tom shouldn't be unfamiliar with it. But in the same light, Asian Tom does play base Jita. Dayman used to play base Jita, so the character kind of familiarity is gonna be there. So yeah, I think Dayman he did should I just spoil the match or should I not spoil it?
Well, I mean we're not gonna get a chance to watch the rest of this right now.
All right, so spoilers. The set was 7-3.
Okay.
He did. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. There was a murder in the house.
Oh my goodness.
It was a murder. At one point.
Worst ending since Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But no, I'm really excited to have Dayman. He's been like he's actually me and him are actually training partners.
Very cool.
So if this dude is ready, I would be scared of this man, not only against Asian Tom, but for the rest of the bracket.
I would be scared of any man who says that. What does Summit mean to you? It means smoke. I think that alone is enough to incite fear in most players.
Right. So let's get into Asian Tom.
Yes, so we are going to go ahead and transition over here. Next on deck, it is going to be from Traveling Controller here. And it is going to be Andre versus Asian Tom here. And we are going to jump into it. We are currently at 21 seconds. And we are going to be getting into it. Let's go to 30 seconds. All right, we are currently at 30 seconds. Are you set?
I am.
Yeah.
Yep, I am set.
All right, here we go. All right, so let's kind of get into it. So I personally am extremely excited. I'm always a fan. Oh, a little bit too high with that Dragon Rush, and Tom is gonna come right back through right there.
His reactions to Dragon Rush are on point.
They're definitely phenomenal. That's like the one thing about Tom, like watching.
And look at that hit confirm. There's the Raccoon Beam.
Yeah, where he dashes back right there and makes it so he doesn't have to commit a meter to put him in the corner. That was incredibly smart. Nice staggers right here. He's testing. Oh, a little bit off on the timing.
I'm having PTSD a little bit.
I mean, you play my Ginyu a lot, so you're used to a lot of Ginyu stuff.
I just see this, and I'm just like, I hate myself. I hate myself. I see Raccoon Beam. I hate myself. But
so one thing is, look for Tom to switch now. One of the things Tom mentioned to me, I wasn't making the adjustment to it, is he tries to find any opportunity to switch out when he can if he has blue life.
Right. Which could be a detriment.
I mean, the other thing is that we didn't stop at the beginning of this match to talk about, which I think is very worth talking about here, is Asian Tom's team. We've got Nappa, Ginyu, Base Jita. I would challenge you to find another person who plays this team. Like, this is incredibly unique.
I'll say one thing to begin with. He had specifically called out the character selection earlier to me today as something to talk about because he himself is curious, and there's conversation going on in the chat right now about whether he would be better suited playing more meta picks. But I will say, Tom is nothing if not optimal because even his character select screen, he's got that stuff ready for the speed run. All characters immediately next to each other. He highlights Ginyu and hits A 3 times.
Oh, that's actually amazing.
That's actually, and then like he doesn't even change his colors too.
So,
that's like the cool part.
What I would say, I mean, and there has been some discussion in the chat, talk of potentially dropping Ginyu, which I mean I can understand in this meta. GT Goku is one of the hardest counters to Ginyu in the game, both as an assist and as a character, which is really difficult because Ginyu very much relies, especially if you're going to if you kind of back up in neutral, you want space. You want that sort of dead zone where you can afford to safely call. You don't have that luxury against GT. He's very good at making you block.
Yeah. Also, fun fact about Asian Tom. You want to hear a fun fact? We asked everybody who's a dream character you want. He said Raditz, so my team can 100% be from Saiyan Saga.
Oh my god, give this man Raditz.
I mean, Asian Tom is old school. He is probably the person, at least on the mass side, whose FGC roots go the farthest back, if I had to guess. When I got into the scene, he's the first person in the scene I ever met when I first started playing fighting games.
And you started in...
I started with Marvel 3 back in 2011.
Okay. Marvel, baby.
And
you've been in this for a minute then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in and out for a hot minute, but we had a basement tournament at a buddy's house, and him and Chris Pereira, who doesn't really come out much anymore, came and graced us and told us about the Super Bowl events he ran way back in the day. Yeah. So he goes back.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those players, like, and he's also one of another player's training partners in the Summit, Lucky D. So another OG helping another OG in this kind of game. Nice confirm off Rocky Kick. I think one thing too is like you're kind of seeing Base Jita in this game right now. We had Sweet JP on a couple episodes ago, and like he kind of talked about Base Jita and where he kind of lands in this meta. You kind of see it with Asian Tom's team, right? Like especially with
the pause.
Woof.
What?
Oh, that's probably Andre being
Andre. Wow.
Wait. Where is that?
Asian Tom has confirmed Andre paused.
Okay. Wow. Was that? Now, Asian Tom, I hate to ask players to weigh in on their opponent's feelings, but was it a salty pause? He said, "Prove it was me." Oh my god. I don't know this man, but he is instantly gets a bad.
Andre's a salty boy.
Oh my goodness. I was gonna say he'd be bad for my blood sugar.
Andre is definitely one of the he is a Urian player in Street Fighter 5, so take that as you will.
That tells me everything I need to know. I
like that. To get back into that, I like him crossing under the Raccoon Beam there to keep corner.
Yeah, he's done it twice now, and it's hit Andre both times because Andre's just not keeping track of the Raccoon Beam. Like, he's like, because one of the things that Tom does really, really well, he calls Ginyu Force members and he starts moving immediately. Because your opponent is going to start tracking Ginyu, and they're going to forget, especially if once a Raccoon moves off screen, they're going to forget he's even there.
Yeah, I mean, another thing he'll go to a lot is he'll get a knockdown up at, super jump height post smash, and if he has Birder locked, sometimes instead of he'll call it up there, and then when it whiffs up top, it comes from off screen behind the corner, and you sit there and you feel like, oh, I woke up buttons, I'm gonna blow him up for whiffing the Ginyu Force, and then Birder comes out and just whacks you. He gets the hit confirm.
Yeah, no, I mean,
he goes to that setup a lot.
No, and it's a really, really good setup because there's actually levels to that setup. So that's like the level 1. The level 1 is you call the grounded Birder in the air. He flies off screen. He comes from the outside and hits you because you hit a button. Level 2 though is when Birder comes, he'll actually pull you out of the corner if you're blocking. And as Ginyu, you can then jump, steal the corner, and cross up with an overhead. And level 3, after you've hit him with that, once they see Birder start coming on screen, you DR them right before Birder touches them. Because they're going to start holding back to block.
It sounds like we're talking about what we talked about with Dayman, which is set play.
They're like, and that's what Ginyu is. Ginyu is a character of levels. And honestly, the way he's playing this character is very, very clean. Really nice. His opponent did not respect the Birder call. That is actually real.
Yeah. I think the one thing about Tom and like this matchup in particular, because I talked to shout out to Hypnotic and Pupper J, because we actually we sat down and we were talking about the matches. Some
that
people
was absurd.
Yeah, that was really good patience.
Yeah, so some people can't make it because we originally were supposed to have Kite versus Andre.
Yeah.
Originally, and Brad knows the lore on that very deeply.
Oh, the lore.
There is lore, but
it comes with lore.
Yeah, it comes with lore for free. So that's one thing that we were looking at all the matches and like what matches would we were trying to equal everybody up in kind of terms of play, and I kind of thought Dayman would be kind of a challenge for him because no one in CT plays Ginyu.
Yeah,
and then also Nappa. And so it'd be kind of a challenge. And likewise, no one in Mass, from my knowledge, plays the level of staggers and oppression as Dayman. So it kind of be irresistible force meets immovable object almost.
It's really, really interesting. I mean, matchup unfamiliarity, as I always say, is the great equalizer, right? Where if you don't understand how a character like Nappa or a character like Ginyu works, you can just lose, right? And you could be a stronger player than your opponent, whatever. You can just straight lose. And it's one of those things, but yeah, I mean, Tom, really, really good showing. By the way, the cutouts right now, I don't think that's me. I believe
that's an artifact of the video.
Yeah, that is unfortunately I have no control over that for those of you who are watching at home.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Tom, from the little I've watched him and
the stare down! No, I wanted to see the stare down. Oh my god,
There's another stare down.
This is all we need to do is to put some
that's gonna be a. Oh no, he obviously drops the guard cancel.
Yeah.
Punish.
Okay.
This is killing me here.
So
all the points for
where we're gonna pause.
We're gonna pause it here at the end of this game. So it's actually really funny because I feel like if you just put some Eurobeat, you could have you can put some fight scene music to that. It's bum, right? And you got it's cutting in and out, and all you see is Nappa and Ginyu just wailing on him.
Yo, someone make a compilation of Andre.
Oh my god, that would be beautiful.
Please.
But so one thing, and Tom alludes to this in the chat, is he's up 2-0 right now, but he does lose this set. There's an adjustment that gets made here from Andre. He does some sort of an adjustment that is able to turn this set around for him.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to spend quite as much time to go into the rest of this set, but I will say from the games we have seen, now I can't necessarily speak to the Nappa or base Gita play. I don't know those characters quite as intimately, but I will say as a Ginyu main, I was very, very impressed with what I saw. The hit confirms were incredibly solid, which Ginyu is probably one of the characters you need to know how to hit confirm with the most. Because you get so many wonky hits off just random things. But he moved incredibly well. His setups were really good. And he very much understood the capabilities of his character and played them to the fullest. So I was very impressed with the play from Asian Tom here.
No, I agree with that. For the little I've seen him, and it's gonna be kind of it's gonna be really interesting to see how. I actually told Tom this, like off rip, like for casuals, he's the #1 player from Mass I want to play, because I want to see if the weird team and like how he plays Ginyu.
I can already tell you, his Ginyu, he plays slightly different than me. Like,
exactly,
it's interesting.
It's like the way like he plays certain characters, and it kind of goes back to what I talked before, like the different styles. Like I want to see what makes him different from you. So it'd be really interesting to see. What do you have to what's last words on this matchup?
I was gonna say, Brad, why don't you close this one out for us?
Yeah, who do you have taking it?
So watching Dayman's performance there is pretty inspiring. Obviously, I'm the Mass commentator, so there's an implicit bias, both because I know my players better, and also screw CT. Mass is gonna take it. Don't at me.
Ooh.
But watching Dayman's play there was really interesting, and I think what Jay and you had both said earlier with respect to Dayman is interesting. His stagger pressure is really good, and he plays with that intensity. The thing is, Tom, with the Ginyu play, it's going to be a lot of if he's able to get his pressure started and get his stuff set up. I think round starts are going to be particularly interesting. Blue Goku's round start, with beam behind it, he could, if he wants to stay at 60 miles per hour from the get-go, he can open with elbow into assist and make Tom block right off the rip. And then Tom's on the defense from 300 seconds. And I'm going to be really curious to see how these players set the tempo when the set starts.
They're both gonna block round start. Yeah.
They're just gonna hold back. Shoulder. Like, I don't want to do anything.
That or shoulder bash. Oh my god.
Yeah. That's when we hear they do that, and somebody pulls out like a jukebox and starts playing that Wild West stare down music, and we're just like, okay, who's gonna?
Oh my goodness. I could get behind it. Go ahead.
As a neutral party in this, who do you have taken this set when they played in the first of 3 exhibition?
Who
is your pick?
If I had to pick, I mean, I want to pick Asian Tom because he plays Ginyu. And to be honest,
that's a good reason.
And to be honest, I think a lot of it has to do with I don't think Dayman's style lines up well against Ginyu as a character. Like, not even, like, it's weird, right? So Dayman's style is exactly how you have to counter Ginyu, but the problem is Dayman's tendency to challenge in a lot of situations gets you killed against Ginyu.
Very true.
Ginyu eats players like that up, but if Dayman applies his pressure consistently for all the entire set, it may just lock him down. I think he'll be fine, but even then, Nappa's in a similar vein to Ginyu as, like, sort of a trap character. Where if he sets up,
we didn't get to see much of it.
No, we didn't. But if he starts setting up Cybermen, and I'm sure with the way he plays his Ginyu, I'm going to assume maybe this is maybe a little bit too much, but I'm going to assume he plays this Nappa at a very similar level. If he sets up a Cyberman, I think Dayman, you're going to watch him. I would keep an eye on the counter hit text on screen. That's what I would be looking for in this match. And I think
I got 20 harsh L's that tell you that his Nappa is that good.
Yeah, if that pops up. If you see counter hit on screen a lot, this is easy Asian Tom. If you don't see counter hit pop up, Dayman will take it. But I think you're gonna see it happen. So I'm gonna give the nod to Asian Tom here.
All right. So that's one of the matches. I think we need to also talk about the leader of the Bluer gang, Dan Cravat.
Oh, Cravat. So let's
going up against Carmine. Now, these two have never played each other.
Wait, are we pulling up the Pumper Jam footage against?
I think we should because we did CT first.
We did.
We got to keep it fair. I don't want Brad to come after me in the comments.
All right, so let me go ahead and slide this on in.
I will downvote the video. I will
abrogate
everything.
He's gonna stare at it.
You will get a glitter bomb.
The sabotage here. You bring him on, and he just sabotages the entire podcast. Oh my goodness!
To know about Cravat, he is another again, like with Brad and Asian Tom. another Marvel OG, going up against Carmine, who comes from the NRS KI scene.
Interesting.
That's a really interesting cross-pollination. There's a fundamental difference in the approach to gameplay and neutral from those two different styles. NRS in particular is, I feel like NRS players just know how to deal with staggers and play around that style of a game because it's so central to the way everything works in that game.
It's very, very much so. So we are going to be starting this from 20 seconds.
20
All right. So once everybody is set, we will get ready to roll into this here.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good.
All right. It's here we go. So actually, right before we start, let's actually take a look at the teams real quick because, you know, chat's already commenting on this this Cooler pick,
Cooler gang.
Right?
Cooler!
Now, this is a character who has not seen as much play recently. He has slowly been creeping up a lot of tier lists, just kind of in the mid-tiers. So, how do you guys feel about Cooler? I know how chat feels. Chat is on the Booler game.
Chat is blowing up. I think Cooler's a really cool character. I think most of the characters that have access to an additional low have some extra versatility in the way they apply their block strings. It was good on Cell. It's never bad to have.
Right.
His neutral is really strong. Now the dive kick is particularly powerful. He's just a big imposing presence on the screen.
I mean, he's got some of the biggest buttons in the game, like bar none.
Yeah. I do have a quote from his player profile that I'm going to read off. Coming from the Versus Fighter background, Marvel 3 and Marvel Infinite, I have played characters like Rocket Raccoon, Hulk, Wolverine, etc. They've also have some sort of resemblance to prior stuff I've played. Bardock and GG kind of filled those voids best to me. It also doesn't hurt that they're cheap as hell. I also like both the characters lore-wise somewhat.
You know what? I respect you playing to your background.
That's kind of huge. I think that's just kind of working with the knowledge that you've made throughout the years. I think that's kind of like, like you've seen that's kind of like I remember Brad once talking about like my team at one point randomly. And you called it like a fine wine, like aging. One of the things that I looked at was like teams that I played in my past, like in Marvel 3, because I played Hawkeye, Spencer, Dante.
Right.
And it's just like, how can I put that in this game in some way? And then my team kind of came about, and I was like, you know what, this makes sense. Plus, I like the characters, so it just all works out. So, and then going up against Pumper Jam. Now, Pump is one of 2 Majin Boos in the Summit.
Of all characters to get that much love, right? Like that and 2 Blukus.
That's crazy. That's interesting. He does play Bardock on the side. We had that incredible. Probably my favorite match I've ever played of Dragon Ball was when I went out to Mass to play Pumper Jam. I feel like he's one of the strongest players to come from this group, without question. Brad mentioned it before. So let's get into this. We are starting at 20 to 21 seconds. So let's get into it, boys.
All right,
ready?
Here we go.
All right, let's do it.
Jumping on in right here. And I mean, his opponent, Pumper Jam's also got an interesting team himself, right? Like, we've got the least played character in the game represented here.
Yeah. You're just seeing Cravat just...
Yeah, this is absolutely insane. This was also that low pickup that you were actually talking about a little bit earlier.
Yeah. This character is definitely like... I feel like Cravat switching... Because I know he didn't play Cooler on point for a while. I think he was switching off between Bardock and Cooler. Yeah. I think him going to Cooler on point is like a really good play. Because one, it kind of turns into a Piccolo effect or a 21 effect, where it's like you aren't as susceptible to fuzzies until you make them move to hard tag out, or the opponent has to force 2 snaps, right?
Yeah. Also, characters who are fuzzyable, they if you can bring them in later in the match, it's a much less of an issue because you've likely traded if the game's going reasonably, right? You've likely traded character for character, which means that the amount of fuzzy setups are much fewer, you know?
Yeah, and speaking of the fuzzy, we see the hard tag mix-up right there, where Cravat does, I imagine, with that much bar, he's going to lose the...
Yeah, that is going to be it. Pumper Jam screaming at him. The wall of pink comes up.
I call it the year.
The year?
Shout out to Ken in Black. He called it the year for the very longest. I still call it the year to this day. Okay, just I'll open up. I think the one thing a lot of players aren't thinking about is Pump's Boo, especially from CT, right? Like no one plays. It's like the one thing I credit Mass for is the character. No one in CT plays Naba. No one in CT plays Majin. No one in CT plays X character, right? So it's kind of like it could be interesting is how does CT, and like that's a question, like how does CT deal with the character pool versus just CT? How does Mass deal with CT's oppression at points? So
oh my god, that chase down off the reflect.
Yeah, that was massive right here, and that's also going to be the character.
Dude,
Cravat, you actual madman.
Cravat is definitely like coming from that Marvel background.
Oh, that's right. That was a little bit. Oh, went for the pogo stick to try to cross up. That was a really nice option. Unfortunately, Yamcha going to get the better of him here.
Yeah, I think Cravat is definitely somebody that's improved. I remember him during the qualifier. So he qualified for a three-way dance between Andre, JMD Rose, and himself. And I remember him. He was like, "Dude, I don't know how to qualify." And I was like, "Shut up! You're gonna qualify. You're not gonna just do commentary. You're gonna be in the tournament itself." And like, I think the confidence is definitely boosted since the qualifier, and like you've kind of just seen that. Like his results have gotten way better. Granted, like he's not making top 4 or top 3 as much, but you're definitely seeing him rise to the ranks of Mass for sure, because Mass has become like kind of a Shark Tank every week.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit earlier on, where we were talking about how in CT, Kite is often the favorite when he enters. In Mass, it's really a toss-up. Like any given week, like maybe Mike Volcanic Akuma feeling on, and he's just got the reads and he runs through everybody. And then on the next week, Young Fish is just feeling sharp and takes it for his own. It's really a toss-up.
Yeah, I think too. Like another thing that kind of is a detriment is that a lot of people from CT don't travel. This is gonna be the first time people from certain people like Dayman and Taz are gonna be playing people like Pump, like Pete, so this will be a very interesting clash of styles. For sure, because for the most part, people in Mass only know about 2 players. Myself, I should not lie. Myself, Javi, Mozo, Gak, and Kite. And Gak, Mozo, myself, and Javi, the only footage they have on us is from the month / the day the night before. So that's all that. Nice confirmed by Pumper Jam. Pumper Jam is very much kind of in control of a lot, and he definitely plays to that strength. I feel like a lot of these players are going to be looking out for that. I think with Cravat in particular, he's very much like once he gets rolling, he's kind of one of those players that will kind of keep momentum. One thing to kind of note, and I've noticed this about New England Dragon Ball period, everybody loves to burn Spark on their first character.
Yeah, I think everyone has spent level 1 sparking. Yeah. I have not seen a level 3 sparking in any of the games we've watched.
And it's kind of crazy, like the way everybody's playing in both states have been.
Can we talk about this Cooler though? Like he was very far behind and managed to wrestle his way in with this big body, which is actually really impressive.
It's Bueller.
It's Bueller.
It's Bueller. Jay, you're not even from Mass. I'm not even from Mass.
I know it's look, I'm living through chat. I'm living vicariously through chat right now.
Like I remember Nokami was trying to play Cooler, right?
Yeah.
And he does not know how to spell Bueller. And I was like, man, if he knew that you need to capitalize the R instead of capitalize the F, the B, you know the truth. Nice level 3.
Yeah, and before that defensive read to play around Pump's EX Rasengan into Yamcha was crazy. It's what let him, make that happen. He went from, about to get mauled in the corner with some stupid oppressive high-low into sneaking out and getting the character for it.
Yeah, I mean, and the way he has managed to wrestle control of this match back is incredibly impressive. Because, I mean, he was down a full character and sparking. And now he's in the lead at this point. Oh, and the 3H to get in there on this Yamcha.
Oh my god.
Stuff. Yeah, so you called out, he calls out some Marvel characters from his background that sort of fill some of the functions. And the ones he called out were Wolverine, Hulk, Rocket Raccoon. Those are all characters that are super high priority and go in. This is a team where he's got moves that are high priority that let him go in. 3H, dive kick plus assist, 5LL from Bardock and GT. He is coming for you.
Yes, it is. And we're actually going to pause it right here. So this time, actually, we'll kick it over to Floki. Why don't you kind of sum up how you're feeling about Cravat here? Talk about some of what we saw here, his play style, and how you see him doing.
Okay, so I think Cravat is actually one of the dark. I think he makes top 4 or top 8 minimum.
Okay.
I think he's one of the. I think him as a player, he had a lot to prove, especially with qualifying. He felt like he did have a lot to prove when he made it, and him getting the spot was something that he was really surprised he did.
Yeah.
One of the quotes I want to pull up again from the profile. It means a lot. I've had some awesome highlights, clips, flash moments in gaming, especially in my close to 10 years in the FGC, and to be able to show my style off and I still got it to everyone is pretty awesome. But to me, it also just means another chance to stress some people out and get them tight as hell.
Just my
best life China style on you for the highlight reel. The question is going to be, how does Carmine handle Cooler? Because based on the teams that I know Carmine for, I don't know if the Super Saiyan, the Optimal Prince, is going to take down the leader of the Buller gang that easily. Brad, what do you think?
Well, I think, like I had just said, the team is very much allows for him to play with that intensity. It allows for him to get in there and sit behind these high priority things. But he's been, like you had said, he's been in the scene almost 10 years. You're going to develop fundamentals. You're going to develop a lot of game sense in that time. And he's going to have that ability to, slow things down when he needs to. I've played sets with him on and off through the lifespan of this game, and I can chart his improvement, from earlier on playing, pre-patch 16, which similarly enough is another character that he steps on the gas and he gets in and he stays there.
Right.
It sounds like we might be gearing towards a segue to start to talk about Carmine, though, and start to evaluate and maybe talk through some of the hypotheticals of this matchup.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into next here.
He's one of the real quick on Carmine. He does have a couple teams he could play. That's one of his real strong suits. He used to be playing. I don't know if you both are familiar with Nova. He was playing New Nova's team for a little bit, which is Super Saiyan, Vegeta, Bardock, Yamcha. Obviously playing Bardock first, but.
I was gonna say, I was like, in that order.
He did play Super Saiyan Vegeta a little bit. Because he another quote I want to pull up is that he's very prideful in his like Vegeta.
Right.
Summit to me is an opportunity to meet a new level of DBFZ players. That'll be a new challenge to overcome, and I'll have a chance to show off my Vegeta, whom I take much pride in playing to a larger audience.
This man actually has the Saiyan pride out here. I'm already a fan.
I was about to say.
He's one of those players that put him in a room with a bunch of players. He's definitely going to come out 20 times better than he was. These sets with me in particular, some I did play serious, some we were cracking up at each other. But the way he, one thing before we get into it, one thing that I could say about him is that he's very much a constant of what he does. Very neutral heavy. Very wait for you to make a mistake, capitalize on a mistake. He can also play Gohan and Goku, but he mains Bardock and he mains Vegeta. So I don't know which team he's gonna bring to the dance. So let's find out. For those who are trying to follow along, I'm gonna drop the link in chat. This is from the personal channel. And again, thank you guys so much. For those who are just tuning in, we are breaking down all the matches, the 2 of the matches from Summit Wrath of the Mix. Yep. These lovely gentlemen will be covering the other 2 matches that you're going to be talking about. Brad might be dropping his video tomorrow.
Mine will probably be next week.
Ice versus Pete for Brad, and then Young Fish versus Kite for Jay Diesel.
Which I'm still going to shill as being the hypest exhibition. I'm very excited.
The chat was in complete agreement with you when you said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's got the
Like,
most and lore
I
behind it.
gotta level with everybody. I thought initially going into this, I was gonna have to create a storyline. I didn't think I was gonna get to report on an existing storyline, and it was there. And so I'm incredibly excited for this.
Yeah. So let's get into this match.
All right, I'm currently at 128. If we want to kick it off from there,
I will meet you there.
Yep, I am there as well.
all right. Oh, and look at this. It is Grandmaster Flowkey himself. All right.
God, I'm playing Broly. Don't ask about this. This was my I don't know phase, and it's like you go through that phase in high school where you're like, I don't know what I want to do when I want to grow up. Do I want to be a Broly player? Do I want to still be a Piccolo player? Also, I was trying to find new stuff with different teams.
Wait, so you hyped up Vegeta? There is no Vegeta in this match.
Does he play Vegeta? I don't know these sets. Hold on. I'm trying to find it.
If there's another game, we'll watch that. We'll watch this game. We'll watch a Vegeta game. We can't talk all this Saiyan pride and not see it.
Hold on.
Yeah, well, I mean, interestingly, we're going to still get to see Bardock and dealing with a big body character in the form of Broly. Obviously not entirely similar to Cooler, but in the form of big bodies and forcing you to play the game in a particular way and having similar weaknesses in the way you can approach with like Fuzzy or what have you. We're going to get to see if he is compensating for some of those.
Yeah, especially because Broly is a very, very oppressive character. And like to beat Broly, you actually have to out-neutral him. You cannot just run in on Broly and try to rush him down. Like he will kind of beat you down for that.
And kind of the one thing too, I think he was like very known for, like he has that character pool similar to Pete, right? Where he can pull from different characters. Oh, that was nice by me. Okay.
Oh my goodness, Flowkey. Okay. Flowkey, this is not your.
We're not here to hype you up.
Listen,
we're here to hype up the boy.
Oh, true.
I see Broly on the screen. I just get really. Okay.
Understandable.
Let me see the. Oh yeah.
Oh nice.
No, but yeah, I think the one challenge that I kind of like, he doesn't know really the Broly matchup. So I was like, okay, let me see if we can kind of work with that because there might be a chance that he might run into something. I think the one thing too, the fact that he might be sticking with Bardock Yamcha, I think that's his thing. I think if he looks at this, I actually like scrolled through the old matches, like I couldn't find anything on Vegeta. Like the last thing I found was like months ago. But the one thing, like you can kind of see the different styles. Like he's very patient. He's very much so a relaxed kind of like he's trying to wait for his moment. I'm just trying to get in, right? And like I'm just sticking out buttons to kind of like force my way in. And then again, like he loves to call out a lot of different moments and like how Cravat like is like he always wants to be in on you. Carmine is okay with holding back.
Carmine likes to go for resets a lot.
That too.
There's definitely a lot of times where like he wants to take his turn again.
Yeah. So that's kind of the one thing that I think.
Oh, we got legs? All right, he's got legs. He's already solid in my book.
But does he know how to use them?
Maybe.
Dang, no, he doesn't. Blue beats.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, into a reset though. You just called it.
Oh my god.
Shout out to ZZ Top.
Yo, the ZZ Top, man. That's
Chat, just say you want to mash Flow.
So for you to call out, and once again, it doesn't seem as though we're going to get to see that in this set, but you call out the defensive tendencies and his willingness to wait for you to make a mistake.
Right.
Super Saiyan Vegeta is an assist that I feel he's fallen out of favor, just in the sense that, with the change to being able to super dash and reflect in the middle, it doesn't work as a lock stun assist. But it still gives you that, it will cover you if you want to make certain decisions on Oki. Like, obviously, you can call it on Oki and make a decision and, play a little looser and he'll protect you from defensive vanish, or he covers you.
Yeah.
And it's gonna play nicely into that type of a style. And if it's Bardock, Yamcha, Vegeta, I think that's an interesting team, and it's a really good team for sitting a lead.
Yeah. I think too, like again, like kind of go back to what I mentioned before. His character pool, he plays Bardock, Goku, Gohan, Goku. He plays that team you guys saw on stream. He has Bardock, Vegeta, Yamcha. He just has 3 different teams, but the main thing he loves is Vegeta. His dream character is actually something he was the only one that mentioned it. Majin or Super Saiyan God Vegeta. Only Majin Vegeta in the entire group, which is very. And the one thing
telling.
Also, the one thing that was interesting is that he wants the final explosion as their level, which is one thing that a lot of players like didn't get really into specifics, but you kind of just you could tell Vegeta's is kind of his mainstay, and granted again there wasn't as much match footage, which I'm really sad about, but because I was looking for stuff. One thing that kind of you can kind of just see in his gameplay is the way he could be down a character, and it's kind of the same thing with Hobby, right? Sometimes he doesn't know how to capitalize on certain things, and realizing he can get his turn back.
I will say one of the things that I noticed about him is he does not slow down at all, no matter how many characters he has.
Right.
And that's very, very apparent. He there are some players who you can actively tell they become more cautious or scared as they go down on characters. Even in this set against an overwhelming character like Broly, he's still actively trying to find ways to win. He's trying to press the advantage.
That was so good.
Yeah, it's right there, right? How many players would have taken that risk with Yamcha there, being down 2 characters?
Oh, I whiffed EX Wolfang Fist. Better chase him into the air.
Yeah, I mean, and I can very much tell he's always thinking about how I can turn the situation around, how I can pull a win from this, which it's not to say that every player who competes doesn't want to win, but a lot of players are very defeatist. They get behind and they go, I don't know if I can do this. I see no change in his mental fortitude watching his gameplay. And that by itself is really impressive. Also, oh my god, the heavy bait on Wake Up. Oh my god, send this man on vacation.
So that was brilliant. That was 2 to 3 degrees of brilliant. Because obviously, Wake Up, Oki 5H in that situation is obviously meant to be sort of the tried and true spark bait. But Floki, you did something cute where you dashed forward. And then, to sort of counter the sparking bait, and then you ate the 5H anyway.
I was gonna be honest. I thought you were doing the Aqua dash block. I thought that's what you were going for there, but then I didn't see the block part.
I think the thing is I just want my goal as Broly in this matchup in particular.
Yeah.
Is just to kind of just overwhelm, and especially with the 2 characters that kind of backed with Broly, it's kind of how can I kind of capitalize on Broly.
Oh, that was beautiful spacing from Carmine right there.
Wow.
That micro dash, in order to be able to avoid Floki's button and then counter hit him, immaculate.
The thing he has exactly enough meter to make this work, too, for the 1-1-3 with the Vanish.
See, the thing is, too, is about Carmine, kind of going back to that KI background, kind of like what you talked before. You could be down a whole, a half life bar, right?
And the cross under right there to make Floki's button whip.
Wow.
I think this might have been the most impressive showing we saw for somebody's footage today.
Not only just the cross under.
So we're actually
only just the cross under, he did a super jump.
Yeah.
And so he was floating with the super jump. That was a double cross up. He floated to the left to cross up and then floated underneath to get back to the other side. So good.
That was incredibly impressive. So we're actually going to stop it there.
Yeah.
And
take
it away, Floki. Kind of give us the closing thoughts here on Carmine. Kind of discuss what you saw, what you played against.
There is a reason why I'm really got work off.
Okay.
And he because there might have been complication, but we still wanted to highlight him tonight. I think him as a player, if the right Carmine shows up, you could say that about anybody, right? Especially him. I can see him going far. I can actually see him definitely making a top 8 run. And then against Cravat, that match is gonna be close.
Right.
It's gonna be a nail biter, through and through. Both players, you guys have both seen the level of play, and just in general from all the players that we talked about tonight. And there's a couple players that we even talk about tonight. Guys, there's a reason why I'm not in Summit. I just want to give you guys the best matches from New England.
Floki didn't want
possible. What? Listen,
he didn't want that smoke. He didn't.
He didn't want that smoke.
I just wanted to be I want to be nice guy, Flo.
Oh my goodness! No, and you're doing an incredible thing with Summit right here.
Yeah, but Brad, what are you thinking about Carmine?
Yeah, talk to us, Brad.
I mean, that was a very impressive performance, particularly in that game. I think I agree with Jay Diesel where that might be taken independently as a sole game. I think that was maybe the most impressive performance. That was I had alluded to it earlier on in the difference of the foundations of these players, but you see he's poking in through those staggers. He's those micro walks back for that adjustment that you called out, Jay Diesel. That's MK. That's NRS fundamentals.
Yeah, that is very much not Marvel. Like
it isn't.
No.
And it's something early in the lifespan of this game, I called this out too, where when you watched very, very early, if we're going back in this game, to like Sonic Fox's original team, Sonic Fox was playing Injustice 1 Black Adam when this game came out.
Right.
Like watching his Goku Black, it was like he was playing Black Adam. Walk back, whiff punish. And, just in the ability to micromanage your spacing in those really minor ways, that's something that's really cool to see. And it's going to be interesting against Cravat, where he's got, in the form of, Bardock, he's got Lariat. In the form of G, he's got 5LL. And Cooler just has these giant limbs that make it harder to play around that space.
Yeah. As the neutral ground, Jay Diesel, who do you got?
Wow, this is actually really, really tough. I mean, I think that if Carmine plays all three of his characters like he played that Yamcha, I think he'd win Summit, to be honest. But I don't think that's his base power level. I think that was what Carmine can do.
That was the Kaioken.
Yeah, that was the Kaioken right there. But honestly, he played incredibly well. Like, that type of spacing, that's the type you see at the absolute highest levels of the game. Like, I'll be honest, I don't think I've seen another mid-level player be able to space like that. Like, being completely honest, I've never seen anyone at mid-level space like that. It doesn't exist because it's too difficult. It's too risky, too, right? Because if you miss space a micro dash, you're actually going to die, right? Because you're not blocking and you're dashing backwards. You can't block on frame 1 when you backdash. You can only do it when you forward dash.
True.
So that alone is incredibly impressive to me. That's actually my biggest takeaway from Carmine, is being really impressed at his spacing. Honestly, I think part of it's going to come down to how well he understands Cooler's buttons.
Yeah.
I think if you try to micro dash Cooler, you're going to have a bad time. Because Cooler's buttons are too big for that. I mean, because the thing was, I think it's part of the reason he was struggling against Broly, to be honest. Was because I don't think he necessarily understood big body spacing. Because it is a lot different, right? Versus somebody like Super Saiyan Goku and things like that. But I think if he gets past Cooler, I think that he could take down Cravat. But man, this is actually really hard. This one I legit don't have like I don't feel super confident in. And Norm, that's weird for me. But I
think this just became my second most favorite exhibit. Like, we walked in with Young Fish vs. Kite as like the one, and I'm like now incredibly pumped to watch this one.
Can I be real with y'all? That's why I put this one together. I was like, they're gonna only talk about Young Fish versus Kite, and I was like, that's cool. And like, they're gonna see the rest of these matches. The one match that me and Lucky D and Pump and Young Hypnotic thought it was all even Steven, is Cravat versus Carmine. And that match is I'm gonna be real, maybe the bracket as well, that might be best. I don't want to guesstimate. That has the makings of being my favorite New England Dragon Ball match of the year.
I'm really excited to see that match. After just watching this, I think there's so much potential in that.
And again, there's so many players that we didn't mention, and again, I really want to give a big shout out to Jay Diesel, my co-host, for being a good friend and supporting this. Like, when I came to him, like, he was super cool about it, and like, I'm really happy he's on board. And again, with Brad too, like, Brad didn't like, we had, you know what's funny? We changed the date. This dude popped off. He was like, "Yo, can actually go," and I was like, the fact it's the big thing, and I think it's one of the things that like I wanted to kind of highlight is the fact that these two, honestly, I'm gonna tell y'all, and you can clip this and put this on Twitter. These two are the hardest working Dragon Ball fighters in the East Coast. Do not at me.
Damn.
Jeez.
If you need anybody to hire, it's those two. It's these two right here. I'm being completely serious. That's just genuine. I've been seeing these guys work. There's a reason why I put these two on board. I wouldn't make this decision if I didn't think it was right. And hire these two at your next major, ECT, any East Coast major, any West Coast major, Red Bull Conquest, you name it. These two are putting in the work. So, listen, if Jay was able to make Summit, instant.
Yeah, if I could have made Summit, I would have happily come out to this, because I know it would have been absolutely ridiculous, and I know it would have been a ton of fun. And honestly, like, I think what you're doing for your scene is beautiful. Like, this is something that I am personally a massive advocate of. It's the same things I'm trying to do for my region as well, is giving back to our community as more than just players, and helping to build up the players who are part of your community, rewarding those people who are pouring in these hours to get to the point where they do stuff like Microspace, right? That takes time, that takes effort, that takes dedication. And these are people who are beating on their craft tirelessly. Yeah. And I think the people who put that in, they deserve a reward for it, and it means a lot to see people stepping up in their communities, like you are, Floki, in order
honestly,
to be able to show that.
Like, I could enter my own event and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna make top 3," like, whatever. It wouldn't have done. It wouldn't have encapsulated my vision. You asked me for that. It's to give the scene something that, because one thing, we've mentioned this before, everybody talks about New York.
Yeah.
No one knows who the fuck New England DMV is.
No.
And after September 7th, I think people might know.
I agree. I think these two events are going to be absolutely massive, and I'm really looking forward to see how they unfolding. Well, we are unfortunately drawing to the end of our time here. I hate to do it, but it is, in fact, as I update the current topic, it is closing time.
Closing time.
Now, what we like to do here with all of our guests, and the phenomenal commentator Brad Muse himself is no exception, we like to give these individuals a couple minutes to kind of talk about any projects they're working on, anything they want to like hype or talk about, people they want to shout out. But before you take it away with that, because I know you're going to, I gotta ask, why do you not have a podcast called Brad's Musings?
Damn.
Because I've never thought of it. Oh my god.
Literally, the second you came on here, that was the first thing I thought, was why do you not have a podcast called Brad's Musings? I think it would be beautiful. You can use that too. Just take it.
Yo, Brad's face is like...
Cancel me right now that I've not come up with that. I am like the first inklings of content creation outside of like commentary, and the fact that has not hit me already is damning.
There you go. I think that would be a beautiful name. It would tie perfectly into your branding, and like I think it would honestly be perfect for you.
Well, it is your time now, Brad.
Yeah, take it away as you launch the new podcast, Brad's Music.
Well, first of all, you can find me on all your podcast places with Brad's Music, where I'll talk about how I was around with this last name before Muse was a band. No, so, I mean, obviously you can find me at Summit, and I want to thank Floki for inviting me to be a part of that, and like you said, I was ecstatic when the date moved. Obviously, there was hardship, associated with that and having to shift things in flight, but to get to be invited to be a part of that and to represent Massachusetts and New England at large is a fantastic opportunity and a privilege, and I am very grateful that you guys put that trust in me. You can find me on my regular commentary. I am at Traveling Controller events that Lucky D puts on, partnering on the summit. And you can go to twitch.tv/Traveling Controller, or you can follow Traveling Controller on Twitter, and they'll tell you when stuff is going live. It's not just Dragon Ball. There's Street Fighter. We've got some fantastic Street Fighter players. Earlier this year, we did the Traveling Controller Awaken series, where it was a 5-week tournament series where the people who qualified, we sent like a bus full of people to next level to compete in the Street Fighter bracket over there. And so that was really cool, and that was awesome to be a part of. And then if you follow me on Twitter and YouTube, you're going to get to see more of this kind of match analysis stuff. Like we said earlier, I'm doing a video breaking down Heat the Monster and Ice, and that's going to be coming in the next couple of days. I'm putting the finishing touches on that. And I've got older videos from CT Mass Battle that I was a part of. And just in general, those are the principal places to find me. And I thank you guys so much for having me on and doing what you guys do with this podcast, and reaching out to give people in the community more of a voice to be able to engage with their audience. I think it's a really awesome thing that you guys do.
Thank you so much, Brad. Like I mentioned before, it wouldn't have been a Dragon Ball celebration without Brad in the mix. And for those who are still in the chat, I have one more surprise coming to you guys for Wrath of the Mix in a couple of days. Peep my socials. Again, I want to give a big shout out to Jay. John, you do so much for me. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to do this podcast with you every week. And it's an absolute pleasure.
It's one of my favorite days of the week because of it. This makes my Monday worth it.
It's how Mondays
suck. Praise. It's a Monday.
Yeah.
It's like it's usually Mondays suck, but the fact that I have a really good partner, not only inside the podcast but outside the podcast to work with. But yeah, guys, there is one more announcement coming for Wrath. The rest of the player profiles are coming out soon. Dude, I cannot believe this thing is in a week.
Yeah.
Also, I have a hint for y'all for the next guest.
Uh-oh.
Do you want me to do you want the hint? Do you want the hint?
Hit him with the hint, Floki.
He likes he's a big fan of somebody.
That's the most cryptic hint. What?
That doesn't mean anything.
He's a bit okay. Rather,
actually nothing.
I would watch Fenrich's play, and I would think about somebody maybe in New York that does the same thing.
That's a much better hint.
He likes to keep it low key.
Yeah. So
tweet your guesses. Tweet your hints.
Absolutely, but. Thank you guys so much. Not only those of you who have stuck with us live, but those of you who are watching this on YouTube or watching anywhere else. This has been episode 27 of Under the Radar. We have had phenomenal guest, Brad Muse. If you liked what you saw, please be sure to drop a follow on the channel. Be sure to follow all of us on Twitter. You can see our Twitters displayed on screen right now. If you want to check out apparently one of the most controversial DBZ posts I've ever made, feel free to come through as I watch half the community blow me up over giving Broly 1.2 12k health. If you want to do that, check out my Twitter. You can make fun of me too. Anyways, it is closing time. We are wrapped up right here. I have been Jay Diesel.
I have been Floki.
And I've been Brad Muse.
And this has been Under the Radar. All right, guys. We'll catch you later.